Hello, and welcome back to the story. Today we will be making a recap on a 2005 movie titled The Quiet. The story begins with a deaf high school student named Dot narrating how she feels invisible in a whole crowd of people. She sits alone in a cafeteria full of people. Across her is her stepsister named Nina. Nina is chatting loudly with her best friend Michelle. They are talking about how they wanted to get nailed by their hot classmate named Connor. Nina notices that Dot is staring at them, and she yells at her angrily. Michelle teases Nina because they adopted a freak into their house. The guidance counselor Mrs. Feltzwater asks Dot if she can sit down with her, and Dot just stands up and leaves. She hides in her favorite spot, which is a stall in the girls' bathroom. Nina finds her and pulls her out angrily for the ride home. At their house, Nina's mother Olivia is preparing dinner. Olivia is telling Nina to try and accept Dot into the family. Nina replies that it was not her decision to adopt her and insults Dot. Olivia tells Nina to stop because Dot can read lips. Olivia turns out to be an interior designer while her husband, Paul, is an architect. Paul bumps into Mrs. Feltzwater at the pharmacy where he is picking up painkiller medicine for Olivia. She is concerned that Dot is very unhappy at school. Paul tells her that Dot just recently lost her father while her mother died while she was 7. Mrs. Feltzwater tells him he is a good man for taking in Dot. That evening, Paul arrives and greets the girls. Nina, who is cooking, shares her frustration about her freak stepsister. She then tells him that her mom passed out in the living room, so Paul leaves. Nina then takes some pills from the bag and tells Dot to take some. Dot ignores her and Nina just takes it herself. Paul goes to Olivia and brings her to bed. He then gives her the painkillers. Paul is giving her a look, so she tells him that it is for her hip pain. Olivia gets mad as she thinks Paul is implying that she is not doing anything for the family. At dinner, Paul talks about all of them getting into some sign language courses. Nina seems disappointed that Dot is actually staying. She then asks to sleep at Michelle's house and tells her dad she wants to give him and his new daughter some time to bond. At school, the students are trying to dissect a piglet for a science project. Dot is paired up with Connor. Dot harshly cuts through the piglet and the teacher asks her to slow down and be gentle. At the cafeteria, Michelle whines about the freak who got paired with Connor. They then change their topic about Nina still being a virgin and Michelle tells her she should do it already since she can have any guy she wants. They later see Dot speaking in sign language with a lunch lady and Michelle makes fun of her. While walking in the hall, Dot notices an empty music room and she gets in. She sits at the piano and starts playing a beautiful music piece. Connor notices her as he is walking by with his friends. When his friend tries to see what he's watching, he quickly pulls away. When Dot goes to the bathroom, she bumps into Nina. Nina tells her that she needs some color, so she puts on some lipstick on Dot. While doing this, Nina tells her that she felt bad that they stopped seeing each other after Dot's mother died. When Nina leaves, Dot looks in the mirror and finds out that Nina actually smeared the lipstick around her mouth. That night, Nina tells her dad she has a bad score on a quiz. Her father then tells her that her hair is getting so long, and it is soft. Nina thanks him and they kiss. Dot finds it hard to sleep, so she pulls out the box that contains the ashes of her father. She narrates how her father becomes her world when her mother passed away. Her father was deaf and got hit by a truck while crossing the street. Dot then takes the ashes from the box. She tastes them and spreads some on her face. She later goes to the bathroom to wash. Dot regrets what happened to her father and says that she would have been able to save him if she was with him. When she is about to go back to her room, she finds the door in Nina's bedroom not completely closed and she peeks in. She finds Nina and her dad in bed together. Dot runs to her bed troubled. She kept quiet about what she saw. During dinner, Nina asks to sleep at Michelle's house again. Paul forbids her to go because it is school night and Olivia contradicts him. Nina then rubs her legs on his and tells him she finished all her homework. Michelle calls her on the phone, and she leaves. Paul is mad as he leaves the table and Olivia argues with him. He tells her that she is undermining his authority in raising Nina. Olivia later tells Dot about her mother, who was her friend in school, and tells her that her mother is lucky she did not marry the first guy she dated unlike her. Dot hands her a note saying she wants to go to the movies. Olivia tells her she can take her, but Paul interrupts saying she is in no condition to drive, and he volunteers to drive Dot instead. Dot is uncomfortable sitting beside Paul in the car. In the theater, Dot sits in the back row alone and sees Nina, together with Connor and their friends. Connor asks Michelle if Dot could sit with them, but they refuse to. Fiona laughs at how depressing it is not being able to hear, and Nina interrupts saying Dot knows what it's like to hear because she lost her hearing at 7 and says that it is more depressing to have lost your hearing than never having it in the first place, and they laugh. The movie starts and Nina covers her ears like deaf, then stops and looks behind at Dot. Dot still finds it hard to sleep. She sees Paul coming down, so she hurriedly pretends to sleep, and Paul enters her room. He sits beside her and murmurs that he is sick, and he thought things would change when he brought Dot to their house. The next day, Dot is alone again at her table. Nina and her friends are across her talking about their plan on going to Brian's house while his parents are away. Michelle tells Nina to sneak out and steal some pills from her mom. Nina does not want to, but Michelle goads her, saying this is her chance to be nailed by Connor. Dot is at home playing the piano in the living room. Nina arrives and secretly watches and listens to her. A piano string suddenly snaps and Dot curses out loud. Nina is startled and is puzzled as she hides behind the wall. Dot then hums some notes to tune the keys, and Nina realizes that Dot may not be actually deaf. Nina sneaks back to the door and pretends to just arrive by slamming the door. She then greets Dot, who stopped playing, and Nina pretends she did not witness anything. The next day, Nina goes to Dot's table and sits in a chair next to her. While Dot is eating her sandwich, Nina tells her that she feels like she can say everything to her because she can't hear. She then starts by insulting Dot and telling her how much she hates her. Nina then whispers the details of what she and her dad do in bed, and then tells her about her plan to put down her dad using the gun of Michelle's dad because she hates their incestuous relationship. She says that she is going to do it that night after Michelle gets her dad's gun. Dot seems to not hear anything that she just said. Nina gets angry and leaves. Later, Dot is playing the piano in the music room again. She sees Connor at the door watching, so she stops and tries to leave. Connor asks her if they can go together so they can work on the lab report, but Dot seems to have already completed the report as she pulls it out of her bag. She then leaves and Connor is left disappointed. While having dinner, someone rings the doorbell, and it is Connor. Nina thinks that he is looking for Michelle, but it turns out that Connor came to see Dot. He asks if Dot can come to the library for the lab report. Michelle then arrives and hands a brown paper bag to Nina, which she then hides in the bag. Dot can't stop staring at the bag, and Nina asks her what she is looking at. Dot gets up and leaves with Connor. Later, the two girls are in Nina's room talking. Paul comes in and tells Nina to send Michelle home because it is school night. Nina is mad and asks Michelle to go home and tells her she can't come to Brian's house, and Michelle angrily storms off. Meanwhile, Connor and Dot go to a diner. He starts by asking about the lab report, but then later confesses his feelings for her and asks her if she's a virgin like him, but Dot does not respond. Dot later notices an ambulance hurriedly passes by and she quickly heads home. She finds the bag sitting on a chair. She opens it and finds out that it does not contain a gun, but DVDs of adult films. She goes to Nina's room and hears Nina and her dad are making love. She finds a statue and breaks it. Nina comes out and goes to get a dustpan. Paul later goes out and tells Dot to be more careful around the house. The two girls clean up the shards. Later, Nina is back in her bed crying. She thinks it is her dad and she says she is tired, but it turns out to be Dot. She hugs Nina and goes to sleep. The next day, while ironing her cheerleader outfit, Nina tells Dot that tonight will be the night she will really end his dad's life. She added that it is good thing that she is deaf, or else she could be considered an accomplice. Nina burns the teddy bear's face and throws it to Dot. Dot tries to call the child welfare hotline that night through a payphone, but then just hangs up when someone answers. Inside the gym, Connor is playing badly in a basketball game that he got benched. Dot enters the gym and watches the game. Nina and Michelle are part of the cheerleading squad. After the game, Dot hushes Connor and brings him into the empty school swimming pool. Connor talks about how sad he is with what happened to the game. He then sweetly talks about going on road trips with Dot, but when she looks away, Connor confesses about how many times he is playing with himself and tells her his dirty secrets. Meanwhile, Olivia takes some more pills and tells Paul that she thinks Connor is cute for Nina. Paul gets angry and tells her to stop pushing Nina into dating and dressing like a tramp. Olivia then asks Paul if she is getting fat and takes off her robe. Paul ignores and rejects her, then goes to bed. Back at the pool, Connor lies beside Dot, and he is telling her how he has kissed a lot of girls before but has never slept with them. Dot then gets up and takes off her shirt and undresses Connor, and they kiss. Later, Nina arrives home and finds her dad eating ice cream in the kitchen. Paul gives her an expensive bag, and when she thanks her, he starts to touch her. She stops him and removes her skirt and tells him she will be in her room. Meanwhile, Connor and Dot are humping at the poolside. Dot seems to have not enjoyed it. When she sees the clock is nearing midnight, she leaves Connor and rushes back home. Paul sneaks to their bedroom to get a candle, and we can see that Olivia seems to be awake. Nina is ironing her uniform while she is holding off her father's advances. She tells him that she has a surprise for him and asks her dad to sit and close his eyes. Nina is about to hit him with the iron when Dot comes home and slams the door, so Nina stops. Dot stops outside Nina's room and listens. Nina then tells her dad that she is pregnant with his child. Paul gets mad and asks Nina what she is going to do about it. Nina asks for $1,000 cash so she can get an abortion tomorrow. Paul agrees and leaves. Nina later goes to Dot's room and gets into her bed. She tells Dot that she was not brave enough to do it. During lunch, Connor asks the lunch lady to translate for him to Dot that he is asking her to go with him to the spring fling dance. Dot declines and says that she is wrong for him and that she just wants to be by herself, then she leaves. Michelle sees this and starts cursing about Dot, but Nina stops her and tells her to back off. That night in Dot's room, Nina comes and brings Dot a dress for the dance. Nina then tells Dot that she is leaving the house and will use the $1,000 to start anew. She might even try to work at a bar or be a stripper. She confesses that she lied to her dad about her pregnancy. Before she leaves, Nina puts lipstick on Dot, but this time, it is perfectly applied. Dot tries the dress on but then takes it off and wipes off the lipstick as she will not be going. Nina asks Dot to tell her secret, but she walks away. Olivia is staring blankly at the walls while Dot is playing the piano. Nina sneaks into her parents' room to get some of her mother's pills while Paul is in Nina's room and finds tampons in her bag. Paul confronts Nina on lying about her pregnancy and shows her the tampons he found. She says that they belong to Michelle, but her dad does not buy it. He calls her a skank and starts hurting her and tries to force himself on her. Olivia hears them and she is crying downstairs but does nothing. Dot stops playing and cuts a piano string and strangles Paul from behind. Dot screams at Paul asking him to leave Nina alone. Paul falls down lifeless. Nina cries and screams at Dot. Olivia is stunned as she stands behind Dot. She then says that it is a miracle that Dot can hear. Michelle comes knocking to pick up Nina for the dance. When they go outside, Dot tells Nina that they should follow the plan to bury the backpack. Connor bumps into Dot and asks her to dance. He takes off Dot's backpack and puts it in a chair, then they start to dance. Nina takes the backpack and hides in a bathroom stall. Meanwhile, Olivia sits blankly in her bed beside the body of Paul. Dot leaves Connor and he follows her. When he asks her to turn around, she does, and when Connor asks her if she can hear him, she tells him sorry. Connor is dazed to find out she can hear and talk and tells Dot that she is a psycho. He gets mad because Dot actually heard him when he talked about his dirty secrets. She tries to apologize but he curses her and leaves. Dot pulls Nina and they run through the woods and stop at the side of creek. They take the bloodied clothes from the bag and start digging. Nina asks Dot why she pretended to be deaf, and she answers that she just wants to be closer to her father and be invisible to everyone else. Nina tells her that she can stop pretending because she wants to be close to her and Dot smiles. They bury the clothes and go home. When they arrive, Olivia is being taken by the police. She tells Nina that she killed Nina's father when he started going crazy and strangled him with a piano wire. Olivia added that she only did that because she does not want him to hurt Nina. The movie ends with Nina trying to play the piano. Dot sits next to her and plays with her. She narrates that being invisible is not worth it in the end, because when you are invisible, other people may not see you, but you can't help seeing other people. Did you like our movie recap? Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. To be updated for new movie recaps, hit the notification bell.